Hello, West Ham fans. It's Nick from Claret and Booze. Welcome to my daily ramble. I hope you're all well. Welcome to all the new subscribers that have joined over the weekend. There's been a massive influx. Thanks for jumping on board. Anyone else who's new, who fancies doing it, is free to do so. Don't forget, drop a like on the video if you like it. There's going to be nothing tied to a vote for a manager today. I am going to debrief on that though, because that got quite a reaction. I was expecting that completely. I was. Actually, quite a positive reaction, I thought, because the likes on the video were to directly correlate with people that wanted Allegri over and above the other options that were presented. So it wasn't, do you want Allegri out of anyone else in the world? No, it weren't. It was. If these are the four options, would you take Allegri? Which was the basis of the video, because let's face it, the ones that we're all talking about at the moment, of course, look, we'd like Klopp. There's a lot of people saying Klopp, simultaneously saying that Allegri's too old when they're the same bloody age. I don't really get it. But I did expect an inflamed response from a lot of fans, and I'm not going to have a go at anyone for shouting off and speaking their mind, because it's effectively what I do. So I've got no issue with that. I don't mind being disagreed with. I was expecting it, but there was more people that agreed than disagreed with that signing, based on those that I'm assuming actually watched the video. Because I wasn't given a sales pitch for my dream manager. He's a dream manager out of the ones that I feel we've got an opportunity of getting. That was the whole basis of that show, and he still is. He still is for me. People that are calling him, Moyes and Pellegrini. I don't know what you're talking about. Again, they're the same people that would go for Mourinho. This guy, between 2015 and 2020. Won 5 back-to-back Serie A titles and 4 Coppa Italias, 4 FA Cups, if you like. Clean sweep. Couple of Champions League finals as well. What was his? He had a 70+% win ratio. Out of 270 games, he scored 511 goals. He had a plus 318 goal difference. Sounds really boring, doesn't it? Sounds really boring. And yes, of course, if you're asking me off the bat, you know me. I'm all about style of football and everything else, but we're a mess. We're an absolute mess. We've conceded tons and tons of goals in the Premier League in the past 2 seasons, and this season's continuing in the same vein. We can't defend. So maybe a manager coming in that's got half an idea about defending as well as attacking wouldn't be a bad idea. Everything has to be built on a solid foundation, and at the moment, our foundations they're non-existent. They have been for seasons now. So if you're talking about a transitional manager that can maybe get us through and take us to the next level in a you could say a more pragmatic way. Not boring, pragmatic. Defending to win is different to defending to not lose. If you're 1-0 up and you're 2-0 up and you want to defend, I can take it. It's fine. As long as you can defend when you're trying to do it. So no, I don't really get the argument. For a guy with those credentials, that was only 4 years ago, mind. He left 2020. That was when that run ended. He left. He did rejoin Juventus for a reason, because they didn't do very well after he left. The team that he had built or helped build was old, decrepit, and he tried to pick up where he left off. He set a very high bar. He was never going to meet the same again. I wouldn't say he failed. In 2 years, he won a cup. But at that time, you had the likes of Napoli, you had the Milan Giants that were sort of coming back in again. So yeah, for me, still a great manager, far better than the others that are being mentioned, and that is Potter, Terzic, and God no, Southgate. Now, if it was down to me, I would choose someone like Bielsa, someone like Postecoglou, someone batshit mental. I could watch what Tottenham are watching this year. I could watch Tottenham beat West Ham, batter us off the pitch, and then lose to Ipswich the following week. I could do that. I'd be happy to do so, because it's exciting football. It's kind of what West Ham's all about. So, yeah, for me, I could do that. I could. But we're never going to get that under this board. They're not going to employ someone like that. They're just not. And for a manager to come in, pretty inexperienced, coming from a background where they've worked at really stable clubs, coming into this club is terrifying. It's going to be a mess. I've already said it about Potter. And for those that are saying he plays really exciting, fast-flowing football, I don't know what you're talking about. He doesn't. Listen to the Chelsea fans when he was there, playing loads of players out of position, bizarre tactics. I think he'd scored like 9 goals in 11 games or something. Well, in his first 11 games at Chelsea. It's, no, not for me. Not for me. No, I'm sorry. Look, if he comes in, I'll support him. But I'll say it up front now, he would not be my choice. Not in any way. Terzic the same. He's another pragmatic manager, but they're pragmatic without the credentials. See, the thing is, if you that would only be if you was going for someone like Jose Mourinho, you'd swallow it, because these guys defend and they are boring in terms of their football style, but the end goal is to win. So they're winners, but they're quite defensive. Not my favourite style of manager, admittedly. But if you're going to go for that style of manager, there has to be a reward at the end of it. Well, there has to be a reward at the end of it, irregardless. If you're going to watch a game of football, you've either got to be entertained or you've got to win. You know, preferably both. I'd prefer both, always. And yeah, I would love a Marco Silva. I'd love an Areola. Not so much a Thomas Frank, because, look, he's another pragmatic coach. But I would take him. I would take him. Who else? You got is it Hoeneß from Stuttgart? You've got tons of managers that are being mentioned. Conceição from Porto. You know, don't forget Lopertegui. You know, had a half decent record in Porto as well. He managed there. So there's argues for and against whoever get proposed. But what this did go to prove, the video that I put out there yesterday, because you know I could have mentioned any manager. That could have been, it was Allegri, it could have been Marco Silva, it could have been Areola, it could have been De Zerbi, it could have been anyone. It could have even been attractive football managers. The comment section in that video would have been exactly the same, you know, because we just don't agree. And this is why Sullivan manages to manipulate us so much, because we're just divided as a fan base. We'll never agree. I'll keep saying it. You stick any 4 West Ham fans in a room, we'll all disagree. It's just the way that we are. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not saying that maybe we're any different to any other fans of any other club. Maybe that's just the way that football fans are. But this is why we get abused, you know, because Sullivan can't please everyone. It's quite obvious. He literally, with a managerial appointment, he literally can't please everyone. There's always going to be a group of people that are going to pull it apart. There are. So, yeah, that was probably a bit of a bad exercise from me yesterday, because in a shitty way, I've kind of proved Sullivan's point for him, which I'm not happy about. We're a batshit crazy fan base, unfortunately. It's just the way it is. We don't agree on anything. So, yeah, it was clear. You know, I weren't saying that Allegri was my dream manager out of all the managers that are out there at the moment. I said, you've got these 4 choices: Allegri, Potter, Terzic, Southgate. Who do you want? These are the 4 that we could sign. Especially with Sullivan's history of only employing what he considers to be safe managers with good records and stuff like that. So, you know, you've got to kind of join the dots. We can all sit here and daydream. You know, that's like saying I want a striker. I'll go and sign Mbappe. He ain't coming, is he? We ain't getting Mbappe. So yeah, very, very frustrating, to be honest. I did give it my best sales pitch. I thought I'm gonna try and give it a hard sell to galvanise and whip up a little bit of support between West Ham fans, so that we could force Sullivan down a certain path, and because he's going to go with what he wants to go with, and there's no reason why he shouldn't, because that just goes to prove that we're divided whatever happens anyway. Unfortunately, we're never all going to agree. Whatever route he decides to take, there's always going to be someone that's going to criticise him. So I had a go at whipping up, maybe I'm the wrong person to do it, I had to go whipping up some support for a manager that would probably not be at the top of Sullivan's list because of the type of character he is. Because you bring in someone like Allegri, it's a serious move. He's a serious manager. You better be ready to support him. He's coming here to win, not just to exist. Sullivan would rather go and get a manager it's just another job to him, you know. That's what he'd rather do. But that was probably what we're going to end up with. And I'm not sulking. I'm just stating a fact. That's the way it is. Go back and have a look through the comments. And to those of you that say, you know, oh, you're going to delete my comments, you know, I only delete abusive comments. You're more than welcome to disagree with me. I'm a very disagreeable person. You know, it's kind of how Claret and Booze was built, was on debate. I've got no issue with you having your own opinion. I'd rather you did. But it is, the level of division is mad. And I had it with Duran. I mean, an exciting young striker. I broke that news 2 weeks before anyone else. When I broke that news, Fabrizio Romano was saying that he was going to Chelsea. Go back, have a look at the date of my video and go back to Romano's tweets. And everyone was going, no, he ain't. He's going to Chelsea. I said, no. He's coming to West Ham. And we almost fucking got it done, but we just didn't get it over the line. But at that time, I had nothing but the same thing with people coming out going, crap striker, unproven. The Fulkrug links came out. Half of the people in the chat were going, I'd rather have Fulkrug. Fulkrug's a better player. Just disagreeable. You're just a disagreeable bunch. Well, we all are. We all are. So, look, what does this mean? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not excited either way, really. You know, Jay made a video earlier on the CB Extra Time channel, and he said, look, he can't really get excited about it anyway. And look, I can't, because we've been here so many times before, you know, with Amorim. We thought that was done. We thought it was a done deal, and then it just doesn't happen, and they burst our bubble, and it'll probably happen again this time. It will. I'll certainly get my bubble burst. I think a few of you are going to get your wish, because probably will be Potter. And on the poll that I ran on the live show that I did last night with Jeff Turner from the Cockney Rejects, great bloke, by the way, 68% said Amorim, and it was around about 20% said Potter. So although there are some that want Potter in, it's going to be another manager that the fan base had massively divided over. If he don't start well, he's going to have pressure on him from the off. There are some that really want him, but there's loads that don't. So that's not a good situation for a West Ham manager coming into what we now currently are, which is a mess. We're a complete mess. That's without all the crap going on behind the scenes that the poor bloke's got to deal with. So, yeah, I can't get excited about it. I'd like to feel that. I'd like to feel that same anticipation and excitement that I felt in the summer when Moyes went, but I just haven't because of what's transpired since. How can you really? You can't trust Sullivan. A few comments have been dropped in that video as well, sort of alluding to the fact that Sullivan may be gone quicker than we think. Well, that would be the absolute best news. It would be. I've not seen those rumours. Hopefully there's something in it, because we're never really going to move on, irrespective of what manager we get, until that bloke's gone. He's tried it many times before. I mean, the biggest sign that Sullivan is just a failure is the fact that he's never had a manager that's been a success. It all ends in misery. He could have had one in Moyes if he'd have shaken his hand at the end of the cup final season, the cup win season. If he'd have done that, we could have said Sullivan had a success with a manager, but he didn't do it. He runs them into the ground. He does it every time. They always leave under a little bit of a cloud, unfortunately. Never had a manager poached, have we? How nice would that be? Because what that would mean is that you've had a bloke who's kind of done amazingly well for you, built his profile up, and the big clubs come, swooped in and took him. But it also means that you've had a good time in the process. So I did mention that yesterday. I said, look, you know, I would rather an established manager than somebody young at the moment. And I kind of stand by that now. Bearing in mind, I do want a young coach. I just feel like they're going to get abused and they're going to foul at this club. I think if you're not experienced and you haven't got the status, you're not going to have any say. You're not going to have any respect from Sullivan. You're not. So I think you kind of need somebody with something. Somebody that's been there. If somebody of the mould of Allegri or a Mourinho came into this club, Sullivan couldn't bully him. He couldn't bully him. But anyone else, I just think that's how it's going to work. That's how it's going to go. And yeah, we're up shit creek, I think. You know, I stand by what I said yesterday. This team is completely divided. It's fractured. It's dead. It is. You know, it's not a team. There's still some great players in there. I'm seeing comments in the video saying we're rubbish. We think we're too good. Players like Alvarez are finished. I mean, what are you talking about? He was amazing last year. Bowen's been crap this year. Is he crap? Has he turned, like Allegri, has he turned crap overnight? Or does the situation currently just not suit him? You know? They haven't turned crap overnight. They're still good quality, top quality. In some cases, world-class players. They just don't look that way. Because the manager's the most important part. But maybe, beyond that, the most important part is the foundations, is you know, like we've said, you know, but Brighton, it's a well-oiled machine. Maybe the real important thing is what we can't change. And that's the board and all the fanfare and the circus behind the scenes that whichever manager comes in has got to deal with while he tries to do his job. Maybe that's the most important part. But like I said, we can't change it. Sullivan's just going to have to roll the dice with whatever choice he picks, because it could fail with Allegri, it could fail with Potter, it could fail with anyone who came in here. It could do. More likely to fail than succeed, let's be honest. So Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like we need something big. Maybe Allegri isn't the right person because it's a split. More people want him than don't want him, but there's still a split. So you're going to have people baying for his blood before he even gets going. I don't know what we need or what we want as a fan base. It would just be nice if there wasn't that divide, but I think there is always going to be. The only way that will ever be removed is if a manager comes in, forces his way through that wall, smashes down the barriers, is successful, and appeases everyone by playing good football and being successful. If we get that manager in, then everyone will be happy. But Jesus Christ, that's going to be some ask with that board behind them. Sort of, Sullivan wrapped around their ankles, hamstringing them every step of the way. So yeah, it's just a follow-up video anyway. Out of all the managers that I suppose all of them that are linked in the press. So if you look at the likes of De Zerbi, who wouldn't have De Zerbi? The guy from Stuttgart, who wouldn't have that bloke? Of course you would. Silva, yeah. Iriola, yeah. We ain't getting them though. We're not getting their managers. We're not. There is another manager. There is a Premier League manager out there at the moment that Sullivan is interested in, but it just they've butted heads over the release clause because he's in a contract. Sullivan wants a reduction on a release clause, and this guy's club is saying no, bollocks. It is what it is. If you want him, you can pay what it is to release him because we've got to go and replace him. So again, I mean, imagine that. Imagine going to another competitor, Premier League club, and saying, I want 50% off the release clause. That's never going to happen. So I've given up on that. And that would have been one of the managers that we've all been talking about as well. But it's not going to happen. So it's irrelevant. It's got to be one of the freebies and one of the safe freebies as well. And if you're going to go for a pragmatist, why not go for one of the very best? And one of the very best is Allegri. And like I said, if you go back and you look at his record with Juventus, you don't score that many goals. You don't have a plus 300 goal difference in 270 games unless you can attack as well as you can defend. So for me, yeah, I'd still be all over it. I'm standing by it. I would rather go for an all-out guns blazing manager so we could have some fun. I don't think it's probably what we need at the moment, looking at it logically. When you look how shit we are defensively, probably isn't what we need, but that is what I would choose. Because whoever comes in has got to try and work with this leaky defence. So getting in someone gung-ho could probably be a little bit suicidal for us, but I'd ride with it. I would, just for the excitement factor. I just think at this stage we just need someone who's got to build us from the ground up. And when I mean the ground up in the team, I mean from the defence onwards. We've been leaking goals ridiculously for years now. This is the third consecutive year we've been shit defensively. But look, anyway, that's it from me. I just wanted to sort of touch on that video and stick my fingers up at all those horrible people that was being horrible to me in the comments yesterday. You really upset me. No, you didn't. You didn't. It's exactly what I expected. All right? So I'll speak to you all later. Come on, you irons.